Thank you, gentlemen. This is rumor control. Here are the facts.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's my short intro for my short shows. Welcome back to the midweek show. If you haven't heard already, just before we get started on today's topic, the Clips channel is now live. It will be the first link in the description below. And that's where I have a lot, actually a weekly running so far. It's been very good. Tom's been really good with me right now. So, there's weekly short clips that you guys can go check out. Some are a little bit longer than others. They run anywhere between, say, 10 minutes and in some cases even 40 minutes. So they are pulled from my live stream. They are the salient parts of my live streams, which is usually Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So in case you're looking for the longer form videos, that's where those are. My channel, of course, is now past 121,000 subscribers. So thank you. Golf clap for that. Today's topic today, we're going to get into it. I've talked about this on a number of occasions. Whenever we see something that makes big headlines, I think, and it has something to do with the red pill or has something to do with the material that I get into. Intersexual dynamics, and in this case, it's issues of national security. Now, I did an essay, and I want to say it was back in 2016 or 2017. It might have been 2017 or 2018 now, if memory serves, because I remember discussing it with Pat Campbell, and there was an FBI agent here in the United States who, and I don't remember her name. You know what? I'll put the link to the essay in the description as well. But the FBI agent, female FBI agent, who was married to a Pentagon official, I believe, ended up investigating an ISIS warlord over in the Middle East. And by her investigation of this guy, she ended up falling in love with the guy, decided that she wanted to expatriate, left the United States, gave up her job at the FBI, and went over there to marry the guy who's the warlord. He also happened to be a rapper too, I think, if memory serves. But when that story came out, I thought it kind of highlighted the need for guys to understand that the red pill and intersexual dynamics and understanding the material that I go into in my books and really and I don't want to just take full credit for everything, but like that everybody in this sphere goes into is not just about getting girls. It's not just about the girls, right? It's not just about learning how to rack up your notch count, right? And I think that we lose the narrative, we lose the importance of it, like the larger importance of the red pill, when we just mischaracterize it as being just about pickup artists or game or whatever. Now, I am writing a book about game, just so you know. However, it's not just about that. The reason why those things in that book are relevant or salient or whatever, that's my word for the day, right? Salient, is because of human nature, because men and women's nature is reliable enough that we can build predictive frameworks around it. And today's story is one of those predictive frameworks. And I think that it's very important for guys not only to make good life decisions, but also to put things into perspective with respect to the red pill. Or being red pill aware. And by red pill aware, I mean you are understanding of intersexual dynamics. You understand the evolved, innate nature of men and women. That's in a nutshell. If I could give you an elevator pitch for the red pill, it would sound something like that. It's understanding the innate, evolved nature of men and women, and tossing away the nonsense. Tossing away the old order ways of thinking about men and women, the belief sets as opposed to the objective truth instead of the subjective or relative truth. And so this is one of those things. It's very important for us to understand this, whether it's your own personal decisions, or it's your family's decisions, or it's what do you want to do with your life, right? It's also important to national security, amongst other things. Understanding the the power balance that is in effect with respect to how women are in control of, say, like the monetary systems right now, government systems, and just what is going on behind all of that, and what motivates that behavior, and what motivates the thinking, or motivates the goals that women have when they get into positions of social power or political power. So that's one thing. The other thing is this, is that it could be just as simple as law enforcement. It can be something as simple as, and I realize that's not to debase anything there, but it can be something as simple as serving in the military. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because today's story comes to us from the Daily Mail. And I'm going to insert this here. And where'd we go? There we are. Okay, today's story is this. Female sailor at the center of the USS Bonhomme, I hope I'm saying that, Bonhomme, fire report. Seaman who torched Navy ship told investigators they were engaged until he dumped her for getting pregnant by another man. But she says it's all bipolar lies. Okay, so now we have the Bonhomme, which is a sizable ship. Well, we'll read a little bit more here, but is now being scuttled as a result of he said, she said. And I think this is one of those instances where we kind of have to look at things and say, is this where we want to be? Okay, so I'm going to read you just the highlights here real quick. It says Seaman Apprentice Ryan Sawyer Mays, 20 years old, has been charged with setting the fire aboard the Bonhomme last July. In a 10-hour interview last August, he told investigators he was newly single. He said he'd been engaged to Petty Officer Anne, I'm just going to call her Anne, who he proposed to at a French restaurant. He's 20 years old, okay? Bear with me. Mays said she was then deployed to the USNS Mercy, the LA COVID ship, and during her deployment, she became pregnant by another man. When Anne was interviewed, she said all of his claims were bipolar lies. Her quote unquote, bipolar lies. She said she'd never been engaged to him and was never pregnant. She says she took a pregnancy test to prove it after he'd spread the lies amongst her friends. She told investigators he was volatile and bipolar. The Navy suggested in its report Mays was embittered against it after dropping out of the SEALs training because it was too hard. This is for him. This is the guy, Mays. So apparently he had decided, and we'll read a little bit more into here. He decided that he wanted to join the SEALs, had to drop out because it was too tough for the guy. They say he was seen carrying 2 buckets below deck seconds before the fire started. Buckets of what? Gasoline. His lawyer says he did not start the fire on board the ship and is innocent. So there we have it. Now we're going to get into sort of the nuts and bolts of this whole thing. The reason why I'm bringing this up here first, and we'll get into the guts of the story here in just a second, is we're looking at a ship that is now being scuttled as a result of this. You'll find out here just what the dollar amount was for all of this. Now, apparently, they are at the center of this entire thing. Otherwise, why are we even looking at this right now? So there's a ship that in the U.S. Navy that has been, as a result of a he said, she said. Now we have, it's over $1 billion, I believe, is what it was, as a result of this. Now I'm going to dig into this a little bit more, but before we get started here, I need to sort of do a little bit of prefacing here. This is why this stuff is important, because there's more than just a boy meets girl, right? It's more than just that. It's not just, red pill, what is it? Kill the beta before the beta kills you. Well, that's one thing if it just kills you. if killing the beta or in some way sort of becoming something different, unplugging yourself from the matrix can save your life. Game saves lives. The red pill saves lives, and not just your own. Sometimes it might be the result. It might be you not killing your family. It might be you not setting fire to a U.S. naval vessel. It might be something else that keeps you out of hot water because you know the innate nature of women. Now, this guy is 20 years old. After reading this, I'm still on the fence here. And I'm on the fence here because the default is to take the woman's side, and she's claiming he's bipolar, and she took a pregnancy test, and we're going to dig into that here in just a second. Actually, let's just get back to it real quick. Let me put this back up for you. So getting back to it, a female sailor who worked on the COVID Navy ship, the USNS Mercy, dismissed the claims of the bipolar seaman accused of and now of course they label him of the bipolar, quote unquote, seaman accused of torching the USS Bonhomme after he told friends they were engaged until he dumped her for getting pregnant by another man. Seaman apprentice Ryan Sawyer Mays. Now, he's in trouble if they use your full name, right? 20 years old, has been charged with setting fire on board the Bonhomme last July. His attorney says he had nothing to do with it, and he is awaiting preliminary hearing. The ship was docked in San Diego, California, United States, last summer when someone set fire to it. The blaze lasted 5 days, with the $1.2 billion vessel scrapped because it would have been too expensive to repair. Newly unsealed documents this week shed more light on the Navy's case against Mays, who dropped out of SEAL training shortly before the fire. During a 10-hour interview with Navy investigators, he told them that he'd been in a romantic relationship with Petty Officer Armel Anne, A-N-E. I'm assuming that's how she says it. He said they were engaged, that he had proposed at a French restaurant, and that the relationship ran into trouble when she was deployed to the UNSN. They spelled it differently in the other way. Mercy, a Navy hospital ship that was deployed to Los Angeles, which is only a few hours north of San Diego, to help with the COVID-19 pandemic. While in LA, deployed on the Mercy, she told investigators that Anne became pregnant by another man. This is what he said. Mays said it drove him to end their relationship and that he was single. He thought at the first single, quote, his quotes. He thought at first that he was the father, the report says. Okay, now here's a two. Now, these are, I'm going to assume that the shot of what's her name, Mel, the girl here, was probably on board. I know that both of these kids had Instagram accounts, and then of course there on the right hand side we see our good friend Mays there. So you tell me, Looks Maxers, what's going on here? Ryan Sawyer Mays, right, is the seaman apprentice charged with setting a fire to the USS Bonhomme. He told investigators he was engaged to Petty Officer Armel Anne, that he'd proposed to her at a French restaurant in San Diego before she was deployed to the USNS Mercy, the COVID ship sent to Los Angeles, LA last year. Okay, so you guys have already figured that out. Okay, the next one here, of course, is the fire on the U.S. Bonhomme on July 12th. It began on July 11th and raged for 5 days, during which 70 people were injured and the ship was seriously damaged. That it has since been decommissioned. Okay, continuing. But in her interview with investigators the next day, Anne said he made it all up. He said, it's all about the he said, she said, right? It's unclear if the pair ever dated, but she emphatically told the investigators they had never been engaged, nor had she become pregnant by anyone. She even said she took a pregnancy test to prove he was lying. Why would she need to do that? After he told their friends about her apparent affair. On August 21st, 2020, U.S. sailor Petty Officer 3rd Class Armel Anne was interviewed in regards to her romantic relationship with Mays. Anne stated that she was not engaged to Mays and that she was not pregnant, and related that Mays was telling fellow sailors that he was going to be a father and that Anne was pregnant. Anne refuted and stated that she was not pregnant, never became pregnant, and had previously taken a pregnancy test to confirm that she was not pregnant. Okay, well, so just saying so is not worth it. You're going to take a pregnancy test just to go ahead and prove it, right? And describe Mays as being volatile and bipolar. Okay, possibly. The report reads, okay, the report reads, when contacted by dailymail.com on Thursday and declined to comment. Okay, so this is our boy right here, Mr. Mays, once again, 20 years old. Looks like he's pretty ripped at the very least. Young man, probably maybe is bipolar. Who knows? We don't know. Of course, they're going to show you pictures like this and not the ones like this, which is his Navy picture right here. Mays joined the Navy in 2019 with the intent of becoming trained in the advanced electronics computer field, but changed his career goals to becoming a Navy SEAL, according to the search warrant. And finally, the newly unsealed search warrant suggests that Mays was embittered against the Navy after dropping out 5 days into the rigorous training required to become a SEAL. Witnesses told investigators that Mays was seen going below decks carrying 2 buckets on the day of the fire. Of what? And that he muttered he hated the Navy. His attorneys insisted this is not the case and that he planned to try again at joining the SEALs. His dream has always been to make the Navy a career. My client, although he dropped out, was hopeful that one day he would get back into it. I can say that my client has always denied the involvement with the fire on the Bonhomme, Richards, and he continues to do so. He is presumed innocent. We are looking forward to the opportunity where we can review the evidence and prepare our case. There you go. So that is our good friend, Mr. Ryan Mays. Is that what his name was? Yeah, Ryan Sawyer Mays is in big trouble. So here we have 2 kids. We have a naval vessel that was apparently worth $1.2 billion is now being decommissioned as a result of this. I don't think that they would be doing an inquiry into such a thing if there weren't some sort of merit behind I don't say accusations or whatever, but whatever was going on. My initial read on this is that you've got a kid here who more than likely had a lot of blue pill, a lot of blue pill aspirations, a lot of blue pill understandings. Perhaps the reason why she's saying he's bipolar is really, but not so much bipolar as it is that he is clinging to a lot of blue pill conditioned ideals. And that the fact that she was probably with him for a while. Remember, the kid's 20 years old, right? So he's still, I think it's like until you get to be about 21, 22, somewhere around there, you're still like forming your intelligence, right? You're still forming your ability for abstract thinking. So maybe that's the case. Maybe he decided to get out of computer electronics or whatever and get into becoming a Navy SEAL. That didn't work out for him. Maybe it was a blow to his ego. It's not impossible that this kid was in some way very much, I don't want to say an incel. I mean, look at the guy, but certainly imbalanced and perhaps a little bit blue pill conditioned, and decided that he wanted to do something else and didn't work out for him. Right. I mean, you got this guy who looks, I mean, according to Looks Maxers, this guy should do very well with the women. Right. And so why is he not? Why is he proposing marriage to this woman in San Diego prior to her being redeployed to Los Angeles? Why is that even where did that even come from? So when I look at this kind of this is my initial read. I could be entirely off base here, but just going from what I understand about, young, especially in the Navy, especially in the military. And I probably should have said this in the very beginning of the show, is that I have a lot of guys who are in the military who hit me up and say, hey, you know what? A lot of the stuff that you talk about when it comes to like soldiers, when it comes to deployment, when it comes to, let's say, military marriages, guys who get into the military tend to be they enter the military at least, very blue pill. And it's very tough for them. And it's hard for me anyways, to cast any kind of aspersions on that, because it's, you want to, thank you for your service. I'm glad you took it upon yourself to go and do such a thing. Right. However, as we can see here, you've got a kid who is 20 years old and has entered into a wider world right now. and is on his own and trying to sort of figure things out for himself according to what most likely are his blue pill ideals. I don't see a 20-year-old like that proposing to this girl, Armel, for any other reason than idealistic ones at that time. Now, it could be that he decided he was going to propose because he thought she was pregnant, and maybe that happened, maybe that didn't. Again, it's the he said, she said kind of thing. But remember, this is bigger than the both of them, especially when 70 people are injured, especially when a naval vessel is now being decommissioned as a result of this. And I would argue, and I've argued this in the past, I've had a lot of guys will say, well, Rollo, you need to teach your book in the, to every 15-year-old or 16-year-old guy so that they have at least some sort of education, or they can't say they didn't know, right? Which I agree with, but I have had I've had other people say, people should not be able to enter the military. Guys, at least, should not be able to enter the military until they've read your book as well, because a lot of things happen at that time, and guys are still still kind of stuck in that Pollyanna idealistic blue pill conditioning, and then get hammered flat while they're in the military. And that's hard. If you've read my second book, which is Preventive Medicine, the dedication to that is to the soldiers who were killing, well, at least certainly, I was back in 2015, but I don't know what the stats are now, but it was the high amount of military suicides that were going on at that time. And so I've kind of had a special place in my my thinking and my understanding here for guys who are in the military. And it can be really rough, especially for young guys. So, and especially in the modern military right now, considering all of the wokeism that's going on right now. So now you're dealing with relationship stuff you might have to deal with, stuff you might think would make a great episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette is now a part of national security. And I mean that in the sense that now a naval vessel has been compromised and decommissioned as a result. So yes, the red pill is more important than just he said, she said. The red pill is more important in unplugging from the matrix. Guys, if you are 18 some odd years old and you're saying, hey, you know what? I want to be a Marine. I want to go into the Army. I want to go in the Navy or the Air Force or whatever it is. Make damn sure you are red pill aware before you go in. Understand the nature of women. Understand what you're getting into. Because it's not like a job. It's not like a job that you can just quit. I mean, hopefully you don't, right? Remember when the Me Too pandemic was going on in 2017, 2018, even in a little bit into 2019. We had guys in the workplace who were just saying, you know what, I don't want to go to any extracurricular activities. I don't want to have to do anything. I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to be done. I don't want to be in the same room with a woman alone because God knows what's going to happen or what I could be accused of. It wasn't fear, as the mainstream media would like you to believe. It was caution. It was reading stuff like this and going, you know what? I'm just going to have to, I got to be all business. And, they were writing articles at the time about, how powerful men hide behind open doors. Yeah, they do. Because it's not because of fear and they're not hiding. It's caution. And here's the thing is you get fired from a job. Okay. Now you've got it. At least you can go and say, okay, well, I'm going to do something new. I'm going to get another job or whatever else. When you're in the military, that doesn't happen. You're there. And I've heard so many horror stories of guys who guys are in the military, who've dated other women who are in the military. And you get sexual assault accusations. You get scandals and everything. There's probably more than just that. This is only a very high profile case right here. But remember that it's not just about you. It's about a larger meta scope, right? So understanding women's nature is very, very important. Now, the other side of this is I'm not laying this at the feet at just women or just this guy, because it could be, and this might be the case, is that the guy was very blue pill, very beta, and did not know how to deal with all of this. Now they're going to try to paint him. I will guarantee what they will do. The prosecution will try to paint this kid as this sort of bipolar, I'll say radicalized, but this bipolar, despondent guy who didn't know what to do with himself and flunked out of SEAL school and decided to take it out by burning down a ship. Now, just saying, I hate the Navy, I want to get out, blah, blah, blah. Does that make him guilty of it? I don't know. We'll see. Right. Well, I guess we'll see. I'm going to follow this case. Maybe I'll do a follow-up episode on this. But again, it's he said, she said, and it's in a larger scope and a larger scale here. So notice also, and this is from the Daily Mail, so take it with a grain of salt, but we're also casting the female midshipman, or what is it, seaman, whatever she is. I don't know what her rank is. We're already presuming that the kid is the one that's got the problem here. We're already looking at pictures of him, yoked out and stressing out and everything else. And another thing to remember is that just because we talk about this, I hear this on Fresh and Fit all the time, is how, dating right now is sort of brand management. That's what I've said in the past. And so now imagine this, imagine your Instagram account and all the pictures that are on your Instagram account are now going to be, can and will be used against you in a court of law. And in this case, it's a military court of law. So bear that in mind as well. I don't think a lot of guys really realize this. Certainly women don't realize this. Women don't realize the extent to which their digital past or their digital footprints will be used as ways of evaluating them, as ways of vetting them. And of course, women don't want you to vet them in the first place. So they try to preempt that. They try to say, well, it shouldn't matter who's in my past. It'll just matters. It's all about my journey of self-discovery. Right? It's all about healing. Well, that doesn't make any difference when you're being accused of a crime and the prosecuting attorney is looking through your Facebook and your social media to use those images. And remember, we live in an age of imagery. We will live in the age of ego and the age of perception right now. So it's no coincidence that they take the picture of this kid who's just like all, yoked out in a red light and just, that's going to be what they're going to lead with, whether he's innocent or he's not innocent. This is also something that they did with the UVA, I can't even use the word, right? The UVA forced sexual copulation suit that happened with Rolling Stone and Sabrina Erdley, who was the woman who wrote the article about the quote unquote sexual assault that was going on at UVA and the fraternities. It turns out it was completely false, right? But to even ask about that, to even bring that up in conversation, you weren't supposed to do that. You weren't even supposed to be. They were guilty, and that was just it. So I think we're seeing maybe a little bit of the presumption of guilt already. In fact, they even said this at the very end of this article. He's like, he's innocent until he's proven guilty, right? Well, unless you're a guy, unless it's he said, she said. And if it's her word against yours as a guy, this is where this can go. So that's why I'm kind of calling attention to this right now, so you guys understand where, watch the narrative, watch the timeline of this. I watched this during the UVA case, like the Rolling Stone UVA scandal. Let's just say the hoax is what it was. It was really a hoax, a proven hoax for which, by the way, Rolling Stone ended up paying about $4.5 million in damages as a result of that. So yeah, be very careful. But these are just some things to think about in the time in the time being right now. So we're going to watch where this goes. I am going to be on Rule Zero on Saturday, of course. And let's see what else. Oh, by the way, next week, next Wednesday, I will be flying to Miami once again to talk about a lot of the same material that I've just got into today, which is sort of perception and also about statistics regarding GERAPE. And Myron has invited me out there, and we're going to do a very serious episode not this Friday, but next Friday. And we'll probably do some less serious episodes as well. But we're going to get down to nuts and bolts. And it's not just going to be, 5 girls in the show. It's going to be us having a real conversation, giving you some real hard data here, and not just about the data about sexual assault or let's say forced sexual copulation. It's going to be also about perception. It's also going to be about understanding how those perceptions can be used, can and will be used against you, not unlike this guy. So we'll see. I could be wrong. I'm not making any prognostications here. I could be entirely wrong about this guy. It could be that he is bipolar. It could be that he simply didn't know how to emotionally handle the situation that he was in. We don't know yet, but I think it's interesting. And I think this is something that we should follow. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. Again, I will. Oh, and then also, gosh, I almost forgot. The episode 2 of Savaho with Kevin Savo and myself. I'm at the very end, the tail end of that, and my cameo is there. So go check that out. I will also put the link to episode 2 of Savaho in there, that you could see my acting debut. And then also Thought Mommies in the Club is also available for download from Spotify, and you can also just watch it on YouTube if you'd like. So there you have it. Thanks for watching today, guys, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.